Hey guys, before we start this lesson, I just want to say thank you all for your continuous support. I have been working really hard to grow my clientele and just grow my brand in its entirety, and y'all support really does go a long way. I feel like I have learned a lot during my journey, and I'm at the point where I can actually help the next person, and that's really all I want to do at this point. So I'm really going to teach y'all how to achieve my signature natural glam look. I'm going to give y'all all my tips and tricks, all my secrets that I don't post in my reels and that I don't post on TikTok. So let's jump right into this look. Starting off with the brows. Her brows are still wet from me cleaning off her face, so I'm just going to use a translucent powder, and this will just help me set those brows into place and remove all of that moisture. I'm going to be using two pomades today. One is from Anastasia Beverly Hills and the other one is from Morphe. I'm using the shade Java from Morphe and Ebony from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I like these two together because it gives me like a natural looking brow. The brow isn't too dark and bold. I want her brow to be kind of natural because, as you can see, we're not working with much. My girl tears them brows up, but it's okay because I'm going to bring her back to life. I'm using an angled brow brush that I got from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I believe this is the number 14 brush. I like to use this brush because the tip of the brush is very skinny. So I go in and I glue the hairs together, and this will give me like a super precise brush line. And when I go in and I start covering out her brows, you can see that it's just giving me clean lines. So all I have to do is apply this pomade in hair-like strokes. I'm using a very light hand because I don't want her brow to be too overwhelming for her face. And I'm going back and forth, defining my lines, filling in the brow, defining my lines, and filling in her brow. And I forgot how much I love pomade. Lately, I've been on this pencil kick, and I feel like I just want to use pencil for the brows. But it really is okay to jump between the two. You can use powder, you can use pomade, you can use gel, you can use a pencil, whatever you like. But understand that each client will require something totally different. It's okay to switch up your flow. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I love to switch up my technique every now and then. And then you can see that I'm going in with that Maybelline brow pencil, and I'm just further defining her brows. And I'll be using the spoolie to go back and forth and just blend all that product in, and boom, her brow look good. You see how we started from the bottom, now we here. You couldn't even tell that my girl eyebrows was chewed up. I really hate that she do that. They get on my nerves. She been doing that since we was kids. I don't know why she tear them brows up like that, but it's okay because she know that I'm gonna get her right and I'm gonna get her tight. Brows have always been my favorite part of the face. Like, this is the first thing that people see when they see you is your brows. They staring right at you. So I want to make sure that them brows are on fleek, for real. Like, they say that brows are sisters, not twins. No. You sit in my chair, you're leaving with twins. Period. That's it. And that's all. Make sure you sculpt them brows. Take your time. You might want to step back in front of the person every now and again and just make sure that the brows look as identical as possible. But take your time, for real. That's what it's about. Taking your time, using your best judgment, and knowing what works for you, and also knowing what works for your client. To clean up her brows, I'm going to be going with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, and this is in the shade Tan Deep Sand. I'm using a smaller concealer brush, and I got this brush from Amazon. I don't remember the name of it. I had it for a very long time, but I like to use these brushes to carve out my brows. I'm noticing that when I work with smaller brushes, I get more precise lines, and when I'm doing brows, I'm really big on precision. I want my brows to really be perfect. I want a clean cut throat, straight to the point brow. I don't want that concealer running over into my brow hairs because my brush is too big. or I may be moving too fast, this brush gives me full control, and it just really cuts the brow, and that's what I like. I'm going to be applying this concealer all over her lid. I like to work with this concealer because it's super creamy, it doesn't dry down fast, and it's so easy to blend. When I'm done applying this all over her lid, I will be going in and I'm just going to buff it out. It really melts into the skin. Like, this is one of my top 2 concealers. If you don't want to spend the money on this concealer though, I would say try the e.l.f. concealers. They have a hydrating one and they also have a camel one. The Tarte is about $28 and the e.l.f. is only $6, so you do what works for you. I use both. I like both. They really are the same thing. When you're sculpting the brows, you just want to take your time and make sure that them brows is on fleek, because that's the goal. Like we said, this is the first thing that a person is going to see. Like, I want to walk up to a girl that just got her face beat and be like, damn, them brows is nice. And then I want to inquire about who did your makeup, because I'm just seeing how everything is starting to just pull together. And that's just from the brows alone. Like, the brows is always a statement piece for me. One of the statement pieces in the look is the brows. So if you're going to perfect anything, perfect them brows first. You don't know nothing, learn how to do your brows. I'm telling you, when I started out, all I knew was brows. I didn't know nothing else. It was just the brows for me. And I was snatching them brows up since I was in about the 10th grade. And now I'm at a point where I could do this in my sleep. Brows are really my favorite thing. I'm always going to slay a brow. You can come to me with no brows and you're going to leave with a brow, because I got you. You in good hands. Okay? You in good hands. MJ on the beat. Period.
Working on the weekend like usual. Way off in the deep end like usual. Niggas swear they passed us, they doing too much. Haven't done my taxes, I'm too turned up. Virgil got a paddock on my wrist going nuts. Niggas caught me slipping once, okay, so what?
A skin-like finish is always the goal for me when it comes to doing makeup. I always want the skin to just give youthful, fresh, and glowy. So, have you guys heard of the MAC Lightful C3 Radiant Hydration Skin Renewal Lotion? If not, you need to type it in on Google and buy it now. At least buy 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Maybe get 5. I'm trying to tell you, this has changed the game for me. The skin that I deliver on a client and even myself has never been so flawless until I started using this product. I like to use this product because it softens, moisturizes, and improves the appearance of texture on the skin. So if you're coming with a client and she has problematic skin, acne, post-acne scars, dry skin, whatever, this acts as a gentle exfoliant, and this will knock all of that off the surface. And if you look at the screen, you can just see how glowy and youthful her skins look like. This has really changed the game for me. I'm so excited that this lady on TikTok put me on, because how have I been doing makeup and ranting about prepping skin, and I haven't been using this product? Like, this has really changed my life, and I'm just so grateful for this product. When I'm done using that product and blend it into her skin, I'm now going to go in with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, and this is a dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. One is like $6, the other one is like $30-something. So like I said, you pick your poison. They do the same exact thing, you just paying for a name. I'm using this primer in her T-zone. She did let me know that in her T-zone she gets super duper oily and she's super dry everywhere else. So This product actually, to me, in my opinion, it works way better than the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. Like, I can feel the tackiness on my glove immediately while I was blending this in, whereas though like the Milk, it doesn't give me like that much tacky feeling. So this would probably definitely be my go-to. And she had her makeup on all day, she said, and it didn't give no oils. Okay, it was good. So this will definitely be one of my go-tos. I am going to make a product list for you guys with all of my recommendations and also all the products that I used in this video. But yes, it's giving skincare is so important to me. So important to me. I really should go to school to be an esthetician, maybe one day, but I'm just happy that I can teach y'all everything that I know. The remainder of her face is dry, so I'm going to be going with my Embryolisse moisturizer, and this is honestly a staple in my kit. I don't know what I would do without this moisturizer. I use it on all my clients, whether you're dry, oily, combination. All skin types need moisture. This is my favorite product because it acts as a barrier between the skin and the makeup. It leaves the makeup super duper hydrated and moisturized, and this moisture will last you all throughout the day. When we're applying layers and layers and layers of product on, we don't want our skin to suffer under and be super duper dry. So this moisturizer will be giving me a soft satin finish, and that's what I want. Like, I want the skin to be nice and plump, youthful looking, glowy, just flawless. And this is what this product gives me every time. Looking at her face before applying any products, I'm noticing that she has a couple different tones going on, which is okay, because there is times where you definitely will have to mix a couple of foundations together. So I am going to be using Nars Natural Radiant Foundation. I'm using two shades. I'm using Caracas and I'm using Macao. I'm noticing that she has like some cool undertones going on, like in her T-zone and her forehead. I see a bunch of hyperpigmentation. So we are going to blend these two shades together to get the perfect skin tone for her. I just want to say that during this part, for some reason, my camera was acting very strange with the lighting. Like, the lighting and my camera, they must have been fighting, because at some points it was light and then it was dark and then it was light and then it was dark, and then the camera died and I was bouncing back between two different cameras. So if the lighting is a little wonky, I do apologize in advance. I probably need to get new ring lights because they don't like me like that. But jumping back into the makeup, I like to use artist palettes when I'm dealing with foundation. I pump out maybe like 4 or 5 pumps of whatever shade I'm going to use, and this is enough for the whole entire face. I use a flat concealer brush and I just apply it in strokes. I work in sections on the face, and this will give me an even coverage all over rather than just applying that foundation directly from the bottle. That's also very unsanitary. Do not do that. I think it's very disgusting. So when I'm doing this, I'm applying it in equal layers, and I can just go in and buff it out. And this also gives me full coverage, because when I'm working on one side, the other side has time to sit in her face and oxidize, and I can definitely tell if this is the right shade for her or not before I go and I'll buff it in. I like to use a Real Techniques tapered cheek brush when I'm blending out the foundation. The reason why I like to use this brush is because this brush is super duper sturdy, and it really gives a full coverage blend out. This brush is super duper easy to work with, and it's also super duper affordable. It is one of my favorites. I used to use the Instapot face brush, but now this is all I use. This is one of the best foundation brushes that I have ever came across. It gives me such a flawless finish. Sometimes I either use this brush or I use a sponge, but normally it's always the brush for me. When I'm applying foundation, instead of using that same concealer shade that I used to clean up the bottom of her brow, I'm going to use a foundation. And the reason why I do this is because I don't like a halo eyebrow. I don't like the eyebrow to be super duper highlighted. I want the top of that eyebrow to look natural. I don't want it to seem like she really has makeup on. And if I would have went in with that concealer that I used to clean up the bottom, it's going to be too bright. And when she takes pictures, it's going to have like this halo chalky outline effect. And I always try to avoid that. When I was first starting out as a makeup artist, I used to always clean up with the same shade. And I would notice that in the pictures, it just was not cute. So this is something that I learned along the way. And I'm happy that I'm able to share my journey with you guys. Like, being a makeup artist has been such a great experience for me. I have learned so much along the way, and I just want to share with y'all. That's really all. I have been trying a lot of new products lately, and I can honestly say that the Sensual Skin Enhancer by Kevyn Aucoin has me in a chokehold. I have never loved the product as much as I love this one. The reason why I like it so much is that a lot of my clients, like when they come to me, it's always their birthday or it's some kind of photo shoot, some kind of camera is involved. And I feel like when I use this concealer, their makeup photographs the best. Like, this concealer gives like the perfect touch to a full glam beat. And once I finally figured out how to work with it, how to use it, it was over. Like, I'm gonna take over the game. You feel me? Like, my makeup looks so much better. I finally got a routine down pat. I'm super duper comfortable with all the products that I use. This concealer is 10 out of 10. It's actually off the charts. The shade I used on her was the shade SX08. And you see how I'm just applying it. I learned that I have to allow this concealer to dry down for a few minutes before I blend it out, so that way it can act as full coverage like I need it to be. And once I blend it out, it really just melts into the skin. It's so beautiful. And did I mention that I love it? Now I'm going to contour her face, and I'm going to be using a black Opal foundation stick, and this is in the shade 640. I'm just using a fluffy brush, and I'm just going to apply this to the hollows of her cheeks. As you can see, she kind of has like a round, ovalish type of head, so I kind of want to make sure that I accentuate her cheeks as best as possible. I want my girl to leave me looking snatched. This is always my favorite part because I get to shape the face and I get to enhance a couple things that the client may not notice, or a couple things that may not show on the everyday. So yeah, I'm about to blend this in, and it's really giving. When I blend out my contour, I blend it in upward motions, and this is because I want that product that I'm using as her contour to blend into that concealer that we use to highlight her face. And this is the way that I get the face shaped, and I can fully enhance her features. I prefer to do a cream contour only because the cream contour product is always easier for me to work with. It's super easy to blend into whatever product I decide to use, and it creates a more seamless chiseled look. And like I said, during this part, I really want to shape her face, and I just want to, enhance them cheekbones, because you can see they're there. And this step is really going to like make them pop a little bit more. And when I set everything at the ending, you really will be able to see the structure in her face. And in our day-to-day life, our cheekbones may not always be super sharp and chiseled, but when I do my clients' makeup, I always want them to feel like the best version of themselves. That's why people get their makeup done, to boost your self-esteem, just so you can feel like that girl. And I always want people to leave my chair feeling like they are that girl, because while I'm doing your makeup, I'm actually hyping you up the whole time. I'm giving you compliments. I'm saying, that you look pretty. And it's really important to build a rapport with their clients, so that way they will always be super duper excited to sit in your chair, and you gain a client for life, and you continue to grow your clientele this way. So remember, stay true to yourself, stay true to the brand. Make sure you blend everything out, no matter how long it takes you. take your time. Make sure you deliver every single time. Like anything that you put your name on, anything that your name is attached to, you need to do it 110%. If you're not passionate about this makeup journey, you just want to do it for the money, I would advise you not to just don't do it. Do something else, because everything is not about money. And this is really a true passion, and I really do love it. You get to meet so many amazing people, you build connections, and most importantly, you get to have a good time. And that's what this is all about. Alright, jumping back into the makeup, I am going to give y'all a couple, motivational speeches, every now and then, but we're going to get right back into the beat. So that concealer has been sitting on her face for a little while, and when I go to blend it out with a Real Techniques setting brush, it really melts into her skin. It's super full coverage. It looks flawless. It's not creasing. And I go back and forth between blending out that concealer and blending that contour up into the concealer, and this will give me that perfect snatched chiseled look. And I'm going to do the same thing on both sides. I take my time when I'm blending out the concealer because I don't want to move the product around too much. I don't want to leave any streaks on the face. I just want it to be straight up flawless, and this brush works perfect for that. You can choose to use a brush or you can use a sponge. Sometimes I feel like when you use a sponge and the product is too wet, it starts to break down the makeup and it gets really, really messy. So I kind of stray away from using sponges, and I just do the brush, and I go back in with that contour brush again. There is no additional product on this brush. I'm just using whatever was left over, and I'm blending it out. I blend out the concealer on her chin. We want all the areas where light will reflect to pop. So when she take a picture, it's going to be given snatched and highlighted. And that is always the goal. The goal is for the makeup to look like skin. And if you take your time and you blend, that is going to be the result that you give every single time, whether it's on yourself or on a client. Skin is always the ending result. You really want to give skin, you want to give flawless. And on her forehead, I'm just going back in with my foundation brush, and I'm just going to blend out that concealer that was on her forehead. There is no additional foundation on this brush. I'm just using whatever is left over. I want to buff everything out. I want to make sure that everything is blended into each other. And my girl really looks flawless. Like when I was doing her makeup, I just kept looking like, damn. Like she already had nice skin, which made it a lot easier for me. Skincare and makeup go hand in hand. I like to tell my clients that. So you give me flawless, you're going to get flawless. But I'm going to make do with what you give me. For her nose contour, I'm just taking a small angled brush and I'm just blending it out. As you can see, I'm just using a light stroke because I don't want to disrupt that concealer that's right on the sides of her nose, and I kind of want these two to blend into each other. I want her nose to be snatched. She doesn't really have a large nose, but I've really been into like snatch nose lately. Like I've really been channeling my inner Michael Jackson, and that's what I've been delivering. I'm using that same Real Techniques brush to blend out that concealer in the middle of her nose, and that will finish up my nose contour. And I'm not gonna lie, this face was flawless. Like she really, really did look good. Once you're done blending out all the product, just go back in with that same foundation brush or sponge, whatever you use, and blend everything in together. You don't need to add additional anything to that foundation brush. Just blend. Blend and blend, blend, blend for your life. And for my favorite part, if you know me, you know how much I love cream blush. I feel like I don't even have to sit up here and explain how much I love it, because if you follow me on social media, you know that blush is my world. It's just so beautiful, and it really just tops off the makeup look. What I have learned during my journey is that blush is always the first thing on a face that starts to fade away. So when you add a layer under it, which would be the cream blush, it increases the longevity of the makeup, and the powder blush that we put on top will really last all day. Like, this is a beauty hack that I'm so happy that I learned. Now, everywhere where we place a cream product or a liquid product needs to be set with a powder. And the reason why this happened is because if I were to send her out the door like this, her face would literally slide off. Or if she was to hug someone or rub up against a wall, her face is going to be wherever she touched. So we want to apply a powder to set everything into place and make everything look more seamless and flawless. I'm using the Laura Mercier setting powder in the shade Honey. This is one of the best setting powders to use in my opinion. It comes in translucent, it comes in honey, and it comes in deep, I believe. And this caters to all skin tones. This product does not give you flashback. The only thing that this product is going to give you is a flawless finish. And y'all know that's what I love. Y'all know I love flawless. So I'm taking that Real Technique setting brush and I'm just applying the product. I'm applying it in layers, and this avoids flashback, which is very, very important. I use a smaller blending brush to apply that powder in her under eye. I do this because most of the time that area does crease. There's really not much that we can do about it, but we can try our best to keep it at bay, which is why I prefer to use a smaller brush instead of my usual setting brush from Real Techniques, because it allows me to firmly apply that product without disrupting any of the makeup that needs to be set. I left a little bit of that powder on her face so she can bake. I felt like a bright under eye would be super duper flattering on her, and at the end it did exactly what I needed it to do. So I'm just applying a little bit because, like I said, I want to avoid flashback at all costs. And I'm just applying it in layers. I'm going to allow it to sit while I work on the rest of her face. I prefer to bake because the powder will really start to melt into the skin, and it gives off such a flawless finish. This powder is 10 out of 10. If you don't have it and you want to try it, start with a trial size, but I'm sure that you're going to love it. To set the rest of her face, I'm using the Fenty foundation powders. I'm using the shade 410 and 430. Y'all, I had these powders for a while now and I never reach for them as much because I'm normally the Maybelline Fit Me foundation powder girl, but these Rihanna powders, yes. The answer is yes. This foundation powder gives off such a soft airbrush finish. I kind of go heavy on the foundation powder because I need her whole entire face to be set before I can go in and add any additional product. I'm using a fluffy face brush from Morphe to apply this powder. This is one of my favorite brushes to use to add that finishing touch. It really applies the product very, very nicely. It's not leaving any streaks on the face, and like I said, that skin is giving. And if you notice, like, you'll see how that powder under her eye is really starting to melt into her skin. It's looking good. To further enhance her cheekbones, I'm going in with a bronzer from Morphe, and this is in the shade Leader. When we get to applying powders onto the face, sometimes the natural skin tone and the warmth in the skin tone can be kind of washed out. So this is why this step is pretty important, because we want to bring some of that warmth back into her face. We don't want her to look washed out or flat or even ashy. So I kind of do go heavy with my bronzer. I am a bronzer girl. I love bronzer. This is actually one of my favorite bronzers as well. It comes in a couple different shades and is super duper affordable. And I'm applying this with also an angled brush from Morphe. I guess you can honestly say I'm a Morphe girl because I use a lot of their products. They are super affordable, so if you're looking for brushes to start building your kit with, Morphe has your back. Morphe is that girl. I love to let this brush do the work for me. Since it is an angled brush, I can apply the product directly where I want it to be without it getting messy or overlapping into another product. and that's what I really love the most about this brush. I believe it might have been $12, but 9 times out of 10 Morphe is having a sale, so you're going to get a deal. I'm topping off that nose contour with the bronzer from Morphe, which is the shade Leader, and I'm going to set that product into place. Like I said, I wanted to channel our inner Michael Jackson, and I wanted her nose to be super snatched up. This is a brush that I got from Amazon. Don't sleep on Amazon or their brushes, because you would definitely find some gems. And I'm just patting that product in, and the nose is given. Now this part right here is based on preference and how you like to work as an artist. When I do makeup, I like to apply the eyelashes at the very end, because I need to see the face in its finished state so I can pick the most flattering eyelash for myself or even my client. So I just go in and I buff out that concealer that was on her eyelid, because we don't want any creases at all, because it's going to look crazy. And I'm taking that same translucent powder and I'm just going to pat it in. I'm using pat motions because I want that powder to set into her eyelid so we can avoid creasing, like we said. And I'm using that same Real Technique setting brush. This brush is really one of one. I probably own like 10 of them because they do the damn thing and they're super affordable. Real Techniques. Make sure y'all add it in your kits. Please make sure that you are using disposable products when you are working on any other face that does not belong to you. I apply mascara to her natural lashes so that way the false lashes will have something to sit on top of when I go and apply them. I'm using a lash glue from Amazon. This is the best glue in the world, and I ain't lying. I know a lot of people say they use Duo. People say they use hair glue. You haven't used anything until you have tried Muse Lash. Really one of one. Your lashes could probably last for a week. This glue could probably put a house together. I'm not even lying. The hold is immaculate, and it's only about $4. I'm going to link it. I'm going to have a link to all the products that I use for you guys. Don't worry, I got y'all. But this glue is really one of one. Before you apply the false lash, just make sure that it fits the client's eye shape or even your eye shape. You don't want the lash to be too long and then it look like you're not able to open your eye. I found that it's easier to apply this with tweezers, but if you want to use your hands, that's also an option. But with the tweezers, it allows you to apply the lash directly in the lash line and it isn't having any gaps. As an artist, I felt like it was important for me to find the best lash style that would be suitable for all of my clients, and I'm happy that I found that. These lashes are so pretty, and I found these on Amazon. I'm not going to be stingy. I will share them with y'all, but please do not buy them all because I actually need to restock. These lashes are gorgeous. I even wear them with myself sometimes. They're not too long or dramatic. They are beautiful. Look at that. It's given. Now, this right here, this blush, this is a throwback. I'm using the Nars Orgasm blush. This has a little bit of shimmer into it, and it just adds like a little pop to this matte look that we got going on. And do y'all see how good her face is shaping? Like, she looks beautiful. That powder that I still have under her eyes, it is starting to melt into more and more, and I'm going to dust that off at the end. I kind of go OD with the blush because, like I said before, this will fade first, and I really want this blush to last as long as possible. Now, I learned this new technique from a makeup artist. It's like a lifting effect. I'm going in with a translucent powder, and I'm going to apply this right under her cheekbones, and I'm going to allow it to bake. If you know me, you know how much I love me some Inglot 77 gel liner. This is one of the best gel liners in my opinion. I always make sure I keep me a couple on file. What I'm going to do with this eyeliner is I'm going to smoke it out because this is a natural glam. I wanted to add a little pop. I like to apply this directly into the waterline, and then I'll go in with a smudger brush and I'm going to completely blend that out, and it just starts to look so good. Lately, the smoky under eye has really been having me in a chokehold. It just turns the look up a notch or two, and it makes the eyes look super duper sexy, like you just have this seductiveness about you. If you've never tried a smoky waterline, I really think that you should try it. You will definitely fall in love with it, and it also makes the color of your eyes look a lot brighter, and it just adds a overall pop to the face. And this is one of my favorite steps. I started doing this on myself and I really fell in love. Now I'm going to be going in with that same mascara wand, and I'm just going to apply some mascara to her bottom lashes so we can have a little bit more drama. If you or the client has watery eyes during this process, just do a big sniff, maybe 2 or 3 times, to suck those tears back in, and this will avoid the tears dropping and leaving stains on the makeup. I'm dusting off that excess powder under her eyes, and as you can see, it definitely delivered a flawless finish like I promised in the beginning. I used that same Real Technique setting brush and I just dusted away. Her under eye area is looking nice and bright like I wanted it to. Now I'm going to go in with that Morphe face brush again, and I'm going in to dust that excess powder off. I added a little bit more of the foundation powder to the brush because I wanted everything to blend in well together. And her cheekbones look amazing. Her face is shaped to the T. Like I mentioned earlier, I do not want to lose this Orgasm blush, so I'm just going to add a little bit more, because when I went in with that foundation powder again, it kind of faded out a little bit. So I'm going to just add a little bit more. Do not be scared to add blush. If you're not adding blush, put the brush down, because I don't know what you're doing. Your face is probably looking corny and dry. Blush makes everything better. I want to make sure all the excess powders are gone, so I'm just going in with my face brush and I'm just buffing everything out, and I'm getting that flawless finish that I was hoping for in the beginning. Before I apply any of her lip products, I'm going in with a makeup wipe and I'm just removing any of that foundation that may have gotten on her lip during the blending process. I do not want this to alter the shade of the lippy that I'm going to apply on her, so this is a very important step for me. When it comes to doing a lip, I put my all into it. Like, this is the last step and it's always the best step. When I do this, I find that using a liquid lipstick is better than using a pencil, just for sanitary purposes, and clients may not always have access to go and buy lip liner pencil that you may have used on them, so the liquid lipstick will definitely go a long way. I'm using 2 things. I'm using a liquid lipstick from Color Raine in the shade Mocha, and I'm also using a concealer. Yes, a concealer. And this is in the shade Rich Ebony from e.l.f. I'm telling y'all, makeup is interchangeable. These 2 shades work so well together. This is always my go-to when I'm doing my ombre lip. This is the best brown liner in the world, in my opinion. It looks great on everybody, and like I said, it does not move. So this lip is going to last maybe all night. They may have to just apply, lip gloss or whatever they have at home, but as far as the lip liner, it don't move. Going in with the perfect nude combo, I'm using the Morphe lipstick, and this is in the shade Bare All, and I'm just applying this to the centers of her lips, and I'm blending it into that liquid lip liner that I created. I'm having her pat her lips together so these 2 can blend. When we say pat, that's exactly what we mean. We don't mean like press your lips together and smear, because then this disrupts our liner, and we really don't want that, because now you're going to be sitting in the chair for more time. And we take pride in those lip liners, okay? I love a nice overline, so please don't disrupt our work. Pat your lips together, and let's keep the show rolling. The second half to this perfect duo is the Dose of Colors lip gloss in the shade Can You Not. This is one of my favorite nudes. I honestly could have just used her by herself, but I love how these two act together. Very beautiful. And this complements her skin tone very well. This is one of my go-to looks when I'm creating that brown liner that make the boys go crazy. Okay, this drives the guys wild. I go in with the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, and I use this to break down the layers of powder that I apply to her face. This spray will give me a smooth, shine-free finish. They do have another setting spray, which would be the glow spray. It depends on what kind of finish you're going for. This spray is about $16. I go in with my mini fan from Amazon to help speed up the drying time. And during this step, you can see that everything really melts into each other. The makeup is literally perfect. This fan can be found on Amazon. I paid less than $20 for it. It comes with a portable charger, so all you need to do is pop it up on the stand and charge it until the next time you go to your studio or wherever you do makeup, and get it popping with the fan. I want to add a little bit of glow to her face, so I'm going in with the highlighter from Maybelline, and this is the shade Molten Rose Gold, just to add a little bit of pop to her face. So I'm adding this to the apples of her cheek, the tip of her nose, and this really adds a cherry on top to the look. Her face really came together nicely, and this is how you achieve my signature natural glam. It's going to hit every time. This is definitely an everyday look. I won't let you get out of my chair until everything is in place. I really want your face to look perfect, so I just go in and I do a couple more finishing touch-ups, and this is how you achieve my signature natural glam. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. It is super appreciated. It does not go unnoticed. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I am always here to help. No question is a dumb question. Thank you.
My beat was wonderful. My experience was great. And she's goofy. Just be prepared for her to be dancing while you get your makeup done. So you could be undercover twerking while she really twerking. That's good.
This video is a written walkthrough of my Natural Glam e-guide. This is available today on Etsy. You can download it right away after purchase. There will be a discount code linked in the product list. So if you would like to purchase it, I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you.